All right, guys, back to work tonight. It's Tuesday evening already. It's June 22nd, 2021. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. And if you're watching for the first time tonight, it's great to have you with me because my job tonight is to help us find the best trade setups for tomorrow. That's Wednesday's trading session. I got a great video in store for you guys tonight. Charts are all ready in the background, as you can see. S&P's ready. Nasdaq's ready. Gold is ready. Glad to see you are ready right along with me. Boy, where do I begin? Lots of setups on my radar for tomorrow. Got a bunch of bull markets, right? S&P's bullish, Nasdaq is bullish, but I'll tell you, with some big resistance levels overhead and some ranges down below us, call me crazy, but I'd like to get some shorts off these highs on the Nasdaq, on the S&P. Now, again, we're very bullish on the Eminis right now, so I've timed my entries wisely, but I'll make sure you guys know how to time those reversals nicely on the Emini and the Nasdaq. Over in the gold tonight, gold is bearish into a trading range. I get a beautiful pendulum swing, triangle combination. We'll love to short some pops on the gold, and would love to trade some breakouts going lower on the gold as well. So lots of great short side trades tomorrow, and of course, you know me, I'll make sure you're ready for the long side trades as well. By the end of this video tonight, you'll know my favorite trades for tomorrow, the trades I'll be trying to stay away from or traps to avoid tomorrow, whether you're trading on your own or trading with me tomorrow in our daily trade room. Now, of course, before we get started here tonight, though, I just want to make sure to remind you, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We publish this video newsletter every evening with our best trade ideas for the following day, so don't miss tomorrow night's video. So make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you always get notified every time we publish something new. And if you guys have any questions, don't forget you can always drop those questions for me in the comment section. I would love to answer all your questions, so don't be bashful. Type those questions right in. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the video tonight, as much as I enjoy making it, do me a big favor, hit that like button, that thumbs up here on this video newsletter. So once again, please make sure you subscribe, drop those questions, hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video here tonight. But enough of the intro, though. Time is ticking. Wednesday is right around the corner. Where do I begin? Boy, lots of bullishness on the E-minis here. Like I mentioned in the intro, we're bullish here on the S&P, bullish on the Nasdaq. We're bearish on the gold right now. I'll tell you though, the S&P and the Nasdaq, we've got major levels of resistance up overhead and some ranges, right, acting as magnets down below. Now again, I know we're bullish right now, so I definitely will have some buy setups on my radar tomorrow, but from what I can tell right now, the easy money here is going to be the short side, either trading the reversal off the high or trading the rotation off the high. And I'll talk more about that as we go deeper into this video. And then of course, over in the gold, right, gold is bearish into a trading range right now. I have a triangle into pendulum swing. I mean, just a fantastic spot to short that pop on the gold here. And of course, with the weekend gap still waiting, hopefully waiting to get filled tomorrow, I am definitely not going to shy away from a breakout trade short on the gold as well. So I've got my favorite trades all lined up and ready to go for you guys here tonight. We'll go over all those favorites in tonight's video. Before we jump into the charts though, let's make sure we get on the same page here for tomorrow because we got some more big news coming on our radar tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, of course, is a Wednesday, middle of the week here. This kind of not the last week of the month, but the last full week of the month. And of course, with next weekend being a holiday weekend, this is definitely an important next couple days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are going to be pretty important, especially for the traders out there who are planning to have a budget, right, to go on vacation next weekend with that 4th of July holiday next Sunday. But I'm getting ahead of myself. As we look at tomorrow's radar, or tomorrow's schedule for tomorrow on our radar, we have some really big news tomorrow. The PMI composite number at 9:45, and then again that home sales number at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Make no mistake, the PMI number will be the headline news for tomorrow. The Purchasing Managers Index, that is an inflation report, and as you guys know, everybody's obsessed with inflation because inflation seems to be the big variable the Fed is watching most closely. That and jobs right now. We're going to hear more from jobs, not this week, but next week we'll get the big jobs report as we go into the holiday weekend. So Big news tomorrow morning at 9:45. And, we do typically see the best trades in our trade room between 9:45 and 10:45. So I'm definitely looking forward to a great session tomorrow morning in our trade room. And you'll definitely want to be at your desk tomorrow morning in that 9:45 to 10:45 block. Now, speaking of our trade room, don't forget we open the trade room up every morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I would love to have you there trading right alongside me. I'll put all of the links you guys need to get registered as a new member. I'll put all that right below this video on our blog or in the description of this YouTube video. And then, of course, don't forget, tomorrow night, I will not be sending out a newsletter on Thursday evening, right? So, of course, we'll do one more tomorrow night, getting ready for Thursday. But please make sure you kind of mark your calendars. Unfortunately, I won't be in the office on Thursday evening. I'll be out of the office on Thursday evening. I'd rather be here with you guys. It's a meeting's got to get out of the office here. So no Thursday evening newsletter. We'll come back to our normal schedule next week. So one more newsletter tomorrow night. And again, nothing on Thursday night here as we go into the weekend. Next up here, let's grab the worksheet. Let's get those charts moving here for us here tonight. S&P is ready. Nasdaq ready. Gold is ready as well. Again, am I crazy to want to short these S&P and Nasdaq here right now? Let me show you what I'm looking at here right now on the S&P 500. Now, of course, we can definitely tell the bulls have control here on the mini. We can see, though, a couple big things, right? Spent most of our morning chopping around inside this range. We see a breakout into another range where it doesn't look like it, but there was actually more volume changed hands in that range than the original range this morning. And then we kind of get this little bump from Powell, right? Powell came out 2 o'clock this afternoon. He's saying, nah, we're not raising rates anytime soon. Of course, the party continues, and that breaks the market going higher. You can definitely tell, right? Those all-time highs, as I mentioned in last night's video, you can definitely kind of feel that FOMO kicking into the market right now. Folks trying to get in ahead of those all-time highs here. And I'll tell you, we may end up back at those all-time highs tomorrow. You can see I've marked up the breakout leg, the measured move. So we definitely have, some objectives up overhead here. But I'll tell you, it's looking at this chart right now, I think the biggest takeaway is where exactly am I going to get long up here? There really isn't a lot of open space, right? We definitely have a very strong push higher here. And, again, don't get me wrong, the buyers definitely have control on this. But as the market tries to go higher here, am I going to be able to buy into this area? It's going to be really difficult. I have a major measured move, a minor measured move, and, of course, that all-time high up there. So in these situations where we don't really have a lot more space to run as the market goes higher here, you've really either got a couple scenarios to think about or consider. One would be either I have to see a very strong run going higher, and you'll see an example of that on the Nasdaq here in a second. But let me show you that here. You'll notice how the Nasdaq, right? Nasdaq blew right through that all-time high with some strength. And when you get that much strength, you can definitely buy that pullback, right? Remember, anytime you see enough strength in one direction, you can trade that follow-up leg. We really need to get something like that on the S&P here for tomorrow, right? We've got to get some strength going higher here so we can then try to justify that follow-up leg from there, because as far as I'm concerned, right now, we've got a measured move breakout out of that trading range right now. Unless we can get some strength going higher here, it's going to be very difficult to justify being a buyer with such little profit potential up overhead. So knowing that, the other scenario would be expecting a trading range here. The second possible scenario would be, a range forms here or a range forms up there, which is not a horrible idea, right? It's not a horrible thing, but we would need to get some sort of range up here to give us something to work with. Either we get a range up there or we see a strong breakout higher. I think the easier money right now is the short side here on the sell side. And to do that, we basically need to get some exhaustion here from these buyers. My two favorite, kind of my top three trades right now on the S&P, one of them is going to be a two-try failure. So buyers try once, Buyers try twice. What I'd love to do is mark a channel off of that low, find that hidden channel off of that high. I would love to grab a trap off of that high, right, for that short. So that would be my favorite short trade going lower here for tomorrow. Again, would be getting those buyers to exhaust. Let them try once, let them try twice. Look for that short, either a trap high or off that trend line, right, running back down, ideally into that trading range waiting below. That would really be my favorite short trade here. And keep in mind too, we may see another leg higher here, and I have no problem doing it again, right? I'll wait for the 1, I'll wait for the 2, again, draw that trend line, find that channel. Again, do I get that trap? Even better, right? And then we can short back down again. The key is I'm not trying to force the trade short. I'm waiting for the pop. I'm waiting for the buyers to try a couple times, exhaust themselves, and those stop losses are sitting right below those lows. Nice strong red candle coming down. You can easily short that. Again, back into these ranges, right? Back into these ranges as we go. That will definitely be my first kind of favorite reversal pattern off this high. Now, kind of going along with that same idea here, if we do get the reversal, let's say we don't get, you can definitely see this little small guy right here. 1 try, 2 try. If this wasn't happening right at the opening bell here in Asia, I would say that is a fantastic example, right, of that pattern. We may have to wait for it to 1, 2, and then right back down from there. But let's say this thing does drop here. If it does drop with a 1, 2, 3 move, now we know what's going on, right? We know that range below us is going to act as a magnet. I'm going to mark up that low. I'm going to mark up that high, and looking for that short off the high of that channel. Now, keep in mind, this is a 6,000 tick chart here on the S&P. I'm not going to sell short on the 6,000 tick chart. What I'll do is I'll drill down to a 1,000 tick chart. And my 2 favorite entry setups, my price action entry setups, are going to be bull traps and buyer failures off of that high. Those failures oftentimes lead into pullbacks, which oftentimes accelerate into strength moves. Now, I'm not going to go over all those small, again, these are price action entry setups we use in our trade room. I'm not going to go over all those details here tonight, but I do cover all of those smaller details in our quick start trading class. I have a great shortcut for you. If you're new here to the YouTube channel, if you're new to trading overall, if you haven't been getting consistent results in your trading yet, that quick start trading course, not only will you learn how I find channels and ranges and the best levels of support and resistance, but you'll learn by watching examples of hundreds of examples of all my favorite entry triggers. It'll take you a couple days to get up to speed. That quick start course will give you a great shortcut to get up to speed trading like we do in our trade room. So grab that video class up there in the upper right hand corner. You'll love that class. So again, like the reversals here, do we go higher, wait for the 1, the 2, back down again? Do we just simply wait for the 1, the 2, back down again? Or do we reverse 1, 2, 3, right, for that run going lower here, grab that short right off of that high? Targets are pretty straightforward. Again, targets are pretty straightforward, back down into that trading range. Now, at this point, you're wondering, all right, how do we buy this market? My favorite trades right now in the S&P are the short side. How do we buy this thing? There are really 2 ways to get long as we go higher. One way would be with a 2-try trap. Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, 2-try trap. That's going to be probably the best possible option. Now remember, we have to get a strong jump up, right? That strong jump up is the key on this. Then you want to see that shallow pullback and that higher high. This will probably be the most reliable trade on the way up to those all-time highs. Now, let's say, for example, we don't get the 2-try trap and we get a strong, FOMO run, like pretty much what these markets are doing right now, right? Hear from Powell Powell today. Powell says we're not touching rates. We're going to keep the fire hose of stimulus coming at you, right? The easy money, and they're buying it. So it would make a lot of sense for these buyers to keep going higher here. Again, I'm not disputing the fact these buyers have control. I'm just saying the easier money right now is not trying to fight over a couple points at these highs. The easier money is watching for that exhaustion and selling off that high, right? Now, if the buyers can grab that rip higher and hold that pullback and go, that's a breakout, right? It's basically, again, it's just like the Nasdaq did. Once you get that 1, 2, 3 breakout, then you can go out, mark up that high, mark up that new low, and again, I'll drill down, right, and find that first pullback, right? As I said last night, repeat after me, first pullback is the best pullback. First touch is the best touch, right, off the low of that channel. So if we were to kind of get rid of this channel here, we get that jump up. I don't want to buy into that high. Buyers hold the pullback and they go. There's my 1, 2, 3. Now mark up that high, mark up that low, drill down to your 1,000 tick chart entry setups, right? And look for those price action setups, those traps, those failures, those pullback combinations that I talk about in that quick start course. So now you guys have a pretty good idea for how I want to buy this, how I want to sell this. The big variable for tomorrow is, do we go into a trading range, right? Range-bound markets have been really common lately. There's a range there. There's a range there. Who knows, right? For all I know, we may see a range there. We may see a range right here. When it comes to ranges, you want to buy low, sell high, and focus on failures. I'm going to talk more about that as we go into the gold chart later on in this video, all right? So make sure you stay tuned for gold all the way towards the end. But now you get a pretty good idea for why I think the sell side is probably the easier side here for tomorrow, and what I'm looking for to get short, or at the same time, right, to buy this thing as it goes higher here. Now all we need is a few more candlesticks after the open, and we can see what we get here out of the S&P. Let's keep going. How about some Nasdaq? Let's go to the Nasdaq, because the Nasdaq is very similar here to what we're talking about right now on the S&P. Now, the Nasdaq, you can see here, is very bullish, but just like the S&P, the key components here right now, we have a very strong run. We're at major levels of resistance up here, and we've got ranges, right, which act like magnets waiting below. This is a recipe for a great reversal, right? You're at major turning points. This one's a major measured move. This measured move goes way back to, I think it's the middle of May for that big leg up, that measured leg higher here. So, and we've had that on our radar for a few weeks here now. That's nothing new to us here on this newsletter. So we know that area of resistance is there. When you are sitting at a major area of resistance with magnet below, again, this is the cocktail that makes for a great reversal. So, knowing the buyers have control with those ranges waiting below, and you can see again, there's that prior all-time high on the Nasdaq. This is what we got to see on the S&P. We have to see that strength, right, kind of push back those bears and allow us to come in, right, and buy that next pullback. Again, because as I mentioned earlier, anytime we see a strong move in one direction, we're going to probably see another leg in the same direction. So the Nasdaq definitely got what the S&P needs to get for us to want to be a buyer on this here tomorrow. So very similar here on the Nasdaq as far as my plan goes. The only way I can really buy this right now really is unless we see a strong break higher, or if we see some sort of range up here. And I'll talk more about that here as we go a little bit later in this video. For right now, though, again, I'd love to get short on this. My favorite short setup is that exhaustion reversal, right? We go up, the buyers have control, let those buyers try once, let those buyers try twice. All their stops now are just waiting to be hit. Again, my favorite way to do it is off a trap, but we don't always get that trap, right? Trend lines are great. There's so many ways I can short that thing once the buyers, again, commit to two tries here. Once they commit twice, now the aggressive buyers are in, the patient conservative buyers are in, and do we get the trap, the trend line, or do we just simply get a strong red candle and we're shorting selling into those stop losses. You're going to see a lot of examples of this particular entry setup in that quick start trading course that I mentioned in the upper right-hand corner. So definitely grab that, right, if you haven't done so already. And then also don't forget too, these little reversals like this, they oftentimes will turn over. You can grab a new channel off that high, a new channel off that low, and you can start looking for that short, right, coming off of that high. That's another really good follow-up trade after you get that, again, that kind of exhaustion failure, right, off the high. And then again, drill down, right? This is a 4,000 tick chart here on the Nasdaq here, right? I'm not going to take that first pullback on a 4,000 tick chart. That would require a stop loss. That's a little bit too rich for my blood. I'll go down to an 800 tick chart, drill down to something faster, and grab my bull traps, my buyer failures, right, off the high of that new hidden channel. So I would love to get that short. And this, again, this is the same thing we can do on the S&P too, right? I can also sell that first pullback on the S&P. This exact plan works on both the Nasdaq and the S&P here. Now, of course, just like the S&P, right, I may also see this strong push down, right? The pullback to the moving average. And of course, that run going lower, right? What do we call that? We call that a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Now, by now, maybe you're wondering, could I short that first pullback? It's going to be a difficult short to justify because you're inside the range. We're still very bullish. It's not really that reliable of a short trade. That's why I'd rather wait for this thing to actually get that 1, 2, 3 reversal and then mark that low, mark that high, drill down to a faster time frame and grab that bull trap, that buyer failure setup off the high, right, of that new channel. Where's my target at that point? Right back down at that major low here on the Nasdaq for tomorrow. It should be a pretty easy target if we can get that roll over with that 1, 2, 3 reversal and then hit that high, right? That should be a pretty good target going back down to those major lows. So that's how I want to be a seller on this Nasdaq. Nasdaq looks great for a short right now. But how do I buy this market, right? What's the best way to get long on it? Well, one way to do it would be to wait for a pullback and then look for these bears to come in and try a few times. 1 try, 2 try, right? Maybe a trap off that low. That wouldn't be a horrible way to buy this Nasdaq. But I'll tell you though, as you can see, there's not a lot of space on that. So you definitely want to get those bears to try a couple times. Look for that trap below that low. Remember, traps are always kind of my go-to entry setup when I'm worried about, in this case, buying too high or selling too low. That'll be a relatively easy entry to take there. Just make sure you're patient, waiting for those bears to try a couple times and grab that trap so you're not buying too high going into that top, right, of that, or that what is now the new all-time high up there at that 14, right, 280. So that'll work here for a buy setup. I would also think too that if this market was to, for example, go higher here, again, we've got a little bit more resistance up here overhead. But, I don't need to worry about resistance so much, right? This 1 level, this 2 level, right? This 3 levels right there. So, there's your 1, 2, 3 measured move up there. So you can definitely kind of see where that's coming from. So if I can see a strong move higher here, right? If I can see a jump up, if I can see a pullback and a higher high on this, I can grab a trap on that. I wouldn't worry about that too much. If we have enough strength, that's the key. If we have enough strength on this, I don't care where I am, I can grab that trap pretty confidently because I won't be buying very high. I'll have a nice risk-reward ratio on that price action entry. Or let's say, for example, the party keeps on going and we just simply start to run higher here, right? And maybe don't get that little trap entry. At that point, just mark up that high, mark up that low, and again, we're looking once again here, right, for that first test, right? That first pullback is always the best pullback. Again, we're not just blindly buying off that low. We're drilling down. We're buying those, in this case, bear traps, right? Seller failures, pullback combinations as we come up off of that low. Now, where would my target be if this thing keeps going higher here? There is a large, wide open space here before we have anything really to worry about. So this thing could really start to carry if we, if the euphoria keeps going here for tomorrow. And of course, we'll know more about that tomorrow morning in our trade. Unfortunately, I can't predict everything here in this video, but I'll make sure we adjust based on what we see tomorrow morning in our trade room. So now you guys have kind of a good idea of how I can buy it on a pullback, buy it as it goes higher. And you know me, I would love to get these shorts going here back down into that big range here for tomorrow. Nasdaq is looking good here. How about the gold? I've been teasing you guys with gold through the whole time. Gold's one of my favorites here right now. And the main reason why is because what we're seeing right now is a pretty common scenario here. The biggest key component right now on the gold is this trading range, right? Trading ranges, of course, act like magnets. Ranges are also balanced markets, which means the amount we go below the range can be measured and used as resistance above the range. Speaking of resistance, we also have a bear momentum before the market went sideways. So if somebody asked me, how would you describe this gold market right now? I would say the bears have control into a range with a pendulum swing, as we call it, right? A pendulum trying to complete its rotation higher, right? Which also is running into major levels of resistance up overhead. This is a great spot to get short, right? There really isn't much better than seeing a pendulum swing along with a triangle lined up above a range acting as a magnet. So this is a really nice opportunity here for us. The only challenge we're going to have is as we start running higher here, that momentum is going to start to pick up the pace, right? That is the only kind of tricky part about when you have a pendulum swing rotating off the low. I always try to remind you guys, there's a big difference between a bear range like this that pulls back and a bear range like this that pulls back, right? We go underneath it and then pull back, right? There's a big difference there, right? It's not a huge difference, but it's a very big difference, right? It makes a big difference. The move below the range as we rotate higher, it just means by the time we get up top there's a lot more bulls in the market. And so we have to respect it. It's a lot like what's going on in the S&P and the Nasdaq, right? I can't just sell the S&P or the Nasdaq right now and hope for the best. I want to be wise about it and make sure I time my entry after we get some exhaustion, right? That's the key here to short those tops on the Eminis right now. So that's the key, right? We want to get up around these areas of resistance, but we have to be careful with those buyers, right? Because the buyers, of course, right, I want to get them to exhaust so I can sell this thing right back higher here. So what are my 3 favorite trades here on the gold here for tomorrow? Definitely going to be selling that pendulum swing / expanding triangle. You can see the triangle, right? The triangle's right there. There's that triangle right there. They're rotating back and forth. We'd love to sell that area right there and try to get possibly a return all the way back down to that triangle and maybe fill that weekend gap here for tomorrow. Now remember, the bulls are going to have a lot of momentum on this. So if you get that strong run higher, right, we take out some of that area of resistance. What's the best way to get short? The best way to do it is wait for the buyers trying once. Wait for those buyers trying twice. Their stops are sitting right below that low. And keep in mind, again, this is a 1500 tick chart right now. I'm going to drill down to a much faster time frame to plan this entry, right? So keep that in mind, right? I'm kind of giving you the bird's eye view of this market. Tomorrow morning and every morning, we'll drill down to a faster time frame. And again, I go over all the time frames, all the indicators to use, how to find everything you need in that quick start trading class. I'll put the little button up there in the upper right-hand corner for you. So grab that link and get started on that. That way you'll know what I'm talking about when I say wait for the buyers to try twice. And again, their stops now are sitting right below that low. Do I get lucky and get that trap high? right? Do I get lucky to get that trap high, or do we, right? Or do we simply have a trend line coming down, right? They both work great. So again, it's a failure pattern, right? It's basically a failure pattern we talk about in that quick start class. It's a failure pattern which reverses off that high. And then I talked about this in the Nasdaq, right? We oftentimes will see this market rotate lower now, and the strength of that move is so strong, we can mark up that low, we can mark up that high, and we can now short that high. Now, don't be afraid to short that high inside the range. If we have enough momentum on this, there's a very good chance the amount above is the amount below, right? It's a very good chance we're going to end up on the other side of that trading range. The only thing you got to remember is we're not just blindly selling off the top of that channel, right? We're drilling down to a faster time frame and using our price action setups to trigger the entry. Remember, we don't want to use indicators to trigger the entry, right? So no MACDs, no RSIs, definitely no stochastics. Stay the heck away from all the order flow. All you need are a couple simple price action triggers. I'll go over all that stuff in the video class I keep mentioning. That will be a great short off the high. And also, too, don't be afraid, too, if it runs a little bit higher, right? Let's say, for example, right, it takes out that big high up there. One try, two try, back down in. Now, we may eventually break out, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. What else can I do, right? What else can I do to sell this thing short? Well, we have all of this momentum coming into that range here. So would it really surprise me if the market broke down and made a run to that weekend gap? Now, what's a weekend gap, by the way? Weekend gaps are when Friday's closing price and Sunday's opening price, if I go back and look, right? If I go back and look, you'll notice there's a gap on this chart. It's not a very big gap. It doesn't need to be a very big gap between Friday's close and Sunday's open, right? Friday closes at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday, of course, opens, right, at 6 p.m. Eastern time. When there's a gap between those two, usually it gets filled before Wednesday's closing bell. So guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow's Wednesday. So would it surprise me to get a weekend gap tested tomorrow? Absolutely not. Now here's the challenge. The challenge is we got a range above us. So I can't just sell the breakdown, right? We want to wait for, kind of like the S&P and the Nasdaq, right? Wait for the strength move and then trade the follow-up leg, right? So one example would be, can we get that strong move down? Can we get that shallow pullback, right? That lower low and that trap? That would probably be the best way to get short on this as we go into tomorrow, because you can see, look, it's also got that trend line overhead as an area of resistance. You don't want to miss that entry if this market gives us a nice little jump going lower. Strong move down, lower low in price, trap high there. That's definitely where you want to be looking for that short. Or let's say, for example, we don't get a strong move down, we break down, we hold that pullback, and we jump. At that point now, what is that? That's a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Now you want to mark that low, mark that high. And again, this is a 1500 tick chart, right? We're not just selling the 1500 tick chart. We're drilling down to a faster time frame. And we're hitting that with one of our 4 price action setups that we talk about in the Quick Start course, right? So that is the key as we go lower. Again, the weekend gap is the magnet, but make no mistake. That's 1761.2. That's a major low. That will be an easy target. And I hate to break this to the buyers out there, but if we crack below 1761.2, there's nothing else there. There's literally nothing else there until we get, where is it? Oh boy, all the way down to March's. I mean, look at how big that move is, right? Look at how big that wide open space is. It almost feels like, where is everybody, right? But that's how much open space there is once we crack below that 61.2. Now, that may not happen tomorrow, right? But would it be totally crazy, right, if the market shot lower and then began to roll lower with like a spike in channel? And I could go into a lot more variations here tonight, right? We start bleeding lower here tomorrow. What do? We find our pops, right? Our traps, our failures, our pullbacks. spiking channels are great setups. We'll be looking for that tomorrow if this thing really starts to kind of roll lower there. The key right now though is I'll do my best to anticipate for tomorrow, and I'm sure something will happen we didn't anticipate, so we'll make sure we do it together tomorrow morning in our trade room. Now, how do we buy this market for tomorrow, right? How do we buy this breakout, basically? So in my trade room, we have a saying that a broken pendulum is usually a broken range, right? Broken pendulum is usually a broken range. So if we break above that pendulum, and again, strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, that would be my favorite breakout trade, would be that two-try breakout. This is actually pretty common. Because you're rotating off the low, right? You're rotating off the low. In fact, we saw one of these today on the S&P, right? Where we had that range down at the lows there. It rotated off the low, right? And it was that trap low. On the S&P today, it was a little bit lower, right? But same basic idea. We have this momentum rotating off that low here. And if it really starts to pick up pace, remember, we're not just going to buy it, right? We wait for the shallow pullback. The higher high is the giveaway. The higher high is the giveaway. When that happens, hit that trap. Now, where would my target be going higher? 1797.9 is a major top overhead. If it starts to really bleed going higher, you've got the big round number, but more importantly, 1804.4 here. So that would be another option there, right, as we go higher. And, pretty much all the breakout patterns I've talked about so far could also be applied to this, right? I could see a strong move, a pullback to the moving average, and a blast off the moving average. If we have enough strength off that 1, 2, 3 reversal, 1, 2, 3 breakout, just mark that high, mark that low, and the hardest part is staying patient for that first pullback. Again, drill down to a faster time frame, grab your bear trap, grab your seller failure, grab your pullback combination into a strength move as it blasts off of that low. And if it does blast off that low, that's when you know that 1804 level is going to be where these buyers are trying to get to. So as you can see, there is no shortage of pretty nice opportunities here. For me personally, though, I think the easier money tomorrow, I love the short. Again, off of those highs, but will we get it? I don't know, right? I'm ready to trade whatever the market gives me here, and that's the way you want to do it, right? Be ready for whatever the market gives you, and now we get a pretty good plan here for shorting those pops on the gold, potentially seeing some reversals here on the Eminis and the Nasdaq. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, every morning, I would love to have you there trading right along with us. I'll tell you, learning to trade is easy watching a bunch of videos and watching here on YouTube, but going out and properly executing it is a little more difficult. That's why our trade room is such a great shortcut for all of our members. And again, I would love to have you there right there with you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'll put all the membership links for you right in the description here of this YouTube video. If you're on the blog right now, I'll put a big button for you. Upload this blog tonight. Grab that link, get registered, and I'll see you tomorrow. If you got any questions for me, don't forget you can always call the office. I'm always here on live chat, so don't be afraid to type in some chat questions, call the office, or register right on our website. But that's it for me tonight, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video tonight. I'm going to try to keep these videos relatively short going forward with my top 3 setups. If you guys enjoy it, hit that like button. I hope I've, of course, by now earned a subscribe on this channel, and hope I'll see you guys here tomorrow night on the next edition of our nightly newsletter. Guys and gals, be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.